Today we want to introduce High Level Soulmate, and she's been in a loving relationship, and we're going to get some good points from her so that we could get some good directions and things along that line. Good day and welcome to our group today. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm excited to be here. My goodness.
I know. I'm really happy to have you. And I really appreciate you taking out this beautiful time to talk to us, our group.
Well, yeah.
Yes. So now let's dive right in. You met your high level soulmate. I think he was actually in your neighborhood when you were younger, where you never even crossed paths, right?
Well, he lived around the corner. To be honest, he lived around the corner. I lived in my house with my husband, and he lived around the corner with his wife.
Mm.
And like I could skip to his house. That's how close we were.
Really?
But he was best friends with one of my cousins.
Okay.
So my cousin invited. Go ahead.
And so forward into when you two met.
So my cousin invited me with a friend of mine. I brought her with me to his engagement party.
Mhm.
And my honey bunny was sitting in the corner. That's my nickname for him. He was sitting in a corner and he was watching me. Of course, I was 3 cosmos in, so God only knows. But anywho, so he was staring at me, and my friend was telling me, "Go over there and talk to him." Me, do I need to tell about the engaged part? I was engaged to somebody else. Okay, so anyway, so she said to me, "Look, go. That guy's a really nice looking guy. Go talk to him." I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So anyway, he came and sat down next to us, and we started talking. And I was like, really, like, not very non-committal because like I said, I had a nice ring on my finger. So he just started talking, and we just started vibing, and it was like on a good friendship level. So he said, "Let's go outside." So we went outside and we were talking. Your brother came outside and he was like, "Oh, let's go, ready to go." So anywho, so he gave me his number. I didn't want to give him my number. So it was around 3:00 in the morning. I got home and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, whose number is this?" So I called the number and he picks up. So I said, "Oh my goodness, hey, how you doing?" Of course, like I said, three or four cosmos in, who only knew, So the next day he called me and we just started talking.
Great.
And that's basically how it started. But, I didn't, we were just friends. But then I realized it was more. And just to condense things, he said to me one day, he says, "I don't share." So I had to make the decision to break up with the man that I was seeing, to be with this man. And there was just something about him. It's like, I was just like so enthralled with him. He's just a really great guy. It's been 9 years. And when I see him, I still get excited. My heart still beats when I see him.
Awesome. Now, we're just going to go back a little bit more. Your parents had a good example for you to follow also, so that you can know what love is, correct?
Well, yeah, that's the thing about relationships. Like, if you don't know what something looks like, how can you do it? But what I always did was I always surround myself with people who know something I want to learn. So my parents had a great, loving relationship. So any other relationship that I was in, and not that I've had many, but I am 61 years old, but I've had a couple. I was married for 20 years, for God's sakes. But I just know what love looks like and should feel like. And I never felt what I feel for this man, what I've in my past, ever.
Okay.
So I just knew. Yeah. So I know what it looks like. Now, he, on the other hand, he comes from his mother and father's relationship was not as cohesive as mine. So he didn't really know what the heck it looked like either. But I did. I knew exactly what it looked like. So over the years, I've taught him, and he's taught me also, but I've taught him, like, it's not the way it should be. It feels good. It's just the way you want it to be, because it can be that way.
Right. And just explain that a little bit more, because like, is it the trust issues? Is it the Is it the trust issues, or is it the communication? Is it arguments? What would you add? What would you condone as a good relationship for having to bond you two together as high level soulmates that you are?
Well, as far as communication, he was really bad at that in the beginning, really bad, because he never had really had communicated. Meanwhile, he's been married twice, had multiple relationships, which doesn't denigrate who he is as a person. It's just that, that's where he was. Everybody has to, where you were, it brings you to where you are now.
Right.
So communication was not great. Arguments, he would just shut down and not say anything. Trust. Well, he had and has a lot of female friends. But in a relationship, you have to know what your worth is. No one's better than me.
Okay. Right.
So you just have to know who you are and what you bring to the table. And I don't have time to worry about what he's doing. If he wants to be here, he's here. If he doesn't, well, I gotta go.
I like
So
that. I like that totally. Because
yeah.
a lot of people find that challenging because they don't appreciate who they are, so they try to compete with others, you
Yeah.
know. And going forward, sometimes you'll get a female that will meet a man, and the man would describe the rough times they're having in a relationship. And so what a woman does is she tries to show this man how much better she is than the next woman. So, and like you just said, if she is in love with who she is, she wouldn't have to worry about competing with anybody else. So I do like that that concept that you brought to the table right there.
Well, you know what? There's always going to be somebody who's more beautiful than you are, who's smarter than you, who makes more money than you, who's more accomplished than you. There's always going to be that. Mm-hmm. But if you're secure in your footsteps and who you are as a person, that within itself is an attractive feature. Exactly. And yeah, I can't, like I said, this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. I love him for who who he is, and he loves me for who I am. And we went to a party last night, which was really funny. We went to a party, and it was a 70s party. It was in Manhattan, and it was people like so close dancing and blah, blah, blah. And men are behind him. We're dancing together. Men are behind him trying to talk to me. And then women are behind me, trying to talk to him, like giving him the eye. And we were like laughing because we were having a great time together, but we know what's going on. But we're people of a certain age. And there are a lot of people out there who are single and who just they don't care. They don't have respect for other people's relationship, but we have respect for each other and our relationship. So we found it was funny. We were like, okay, whatever, you guys do what you do, but we're having a great time. We're not gonna let you ruin our good time. Exactly. So people are always out there trying to do, but I don't worry about that type of stuff. I just don't have that type of time.
That is unique. And that's one of the qualities that is needed, because that's like unconditional love. So you feel comfortable in yourself and the direction that the two of you are going, and the relationship that you have that's bonding. Yeah.
Okay. What another thing that makes it work for us is his ex-girlfriend and I are very good friends. His wife and I are very good friends. We've gone out to dinner. I don't particularly care for his wife, but that's a whole story. But anywho, I make it work because he has children with these women.
Okay.
But the reason that it works is because I really don't care. What he had before me that's his business. I can't erase that time that he's had. And the same goes for him. He can't erase my past. It only makes us better for each other. So hopefully you don't make those same stupid mistakes that you made in your past.
Exactly.
And you can't talk about the past. And, he's a very private person, which it's taken years for him to get out of his cocoon of, I can't let this woman know what I'm doing. And you know why? How I made that happen? I just don't ask. Because if I start asking him, he's going to start asking me. And it's not like I'm doing anything. It's just that the fact of the matter is, I don't need him. If I'm going out to dinner with my girlfriends, if I choose to tell you, that's great. But if I don't, that's fine. But now we're to the point where if I am going out with my friends or whatever, I'll tell him. We don't live together. I tell him if he's doing whatever he does, he tells me. But you can't be one thing with a man. You can't ask him every 5 minutes what you're doing. But first of all, nobody has that type of time. I don't. If I have to babysit you like my son, then I don't need you in my life. I just don't want to do that. Yeah. And men know that. Like they know, okay, she's not gonna ask me. And like I said, I don't have the time. I have a lot going on in my life to be worried about some grown man. If either you want to be here or you don't.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And we need to follow that lead, because we do get insecure. And I think the insecurity that comes is because an individual knows they do not belong with somebody. You know what I mean? When they start asking questions and begging them not to leave, and that control thing. So I'm glad that you've not led that life. Marriage. A lot of people think that marriage is so important. Like you said, you've been married once, he's been married twice. We know that from what I've studied, marriage is what society brought people together. But it seems as if a couple of the high-level soulmates that I've been talking to, they actually are not married. And it seems to be working out much better that way. There is, and the love and the connection stays even stronger that way. And we're not saying that marriage is bad, but it's just seems like that puts a hook on things, and it causes more. It's like the individual start thinking that they own the individual. I could be right, I could be wrong. What do you think on that one?
Well, I like him too much to marry him. I like him too much to marry him. I don't want the nuances of marriage. I've done that and it doesn't work for me. I did it for 20 years, and what I have now and what I had 20 years ago. If I had to get married, it was some type of law that people had to get married, he would be the man that I would marry. But there's no need for us to get married. It works. It works. I think the confines of marriage. My parents had a marriage, but they got married back in the 50s. This is not the case for us. We're two older people. We both have our own stuff. When we're together, we are excited to be together. When I see him on the weekends, I'm excited because I haven't seen him. We talk every single day, 2-3 times a day. But I don't need to see. I don't want to cook for him every single day. Let me just call a spade a spade.
Okay.
I don't want to cook for him every single day. I don't want to make sure everything is, clean. I don't want to do that type of lifestyle. And I'm very old-fashioned, and so is he. He's Jamaican. I'm from, my family's from Bermuda. It's that domestic thing, yeah. And I live in New York, but that's where my roots are. And I don't want that type of lifestyle, because when I come home from work, I don't want to do all of that. And I know that will make me upset if I had to do that every day. And that's the role that women fall into, because they think that's what they're supposed to do. And if they don't do it, then there's a problem. And God, don't add some kids in there. That's going to put a whole nother stuffload of problems. So this works for us.
Great.
Are we on a continuous date? Call it that. I don't know. Maybe we are, but we do the domestic things together. We do laundry. We talk about bills. I mean, he financially, he helps me if need be. He's a very generous man. He's a good guy. But like I said, it works for us. I don't know. Marriage may work for people. May need that. I don't need that. Been there, done that.
Okay. Now you mentioned that your parents were married, but they also, because I have met them, and they also have that love in their eyes every time they were with each other, even though they saw each other every day.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. So they set a good example, and the thing with them is they always like to share and sit around and talk. I never really met them as a family that it discouraged people. for some reason people get caught up in the discouragement. How do you feel if when your friends and stuff, they come to you in a negative way about your relationship? What do you do?
Well, they don't know my everyday life, so it really is not important.
That's
I
good.
don't I don't think that anyone's, they're not living my life. They're not walking in my footsteps. They don't know my path. They see me from maybe um if I give them a minute, let me call you back. Call you back. Um and I don't tell, oh, that's another thing when women make mistakes. They tell their business to their friends.
Yeah.
That's where they all go wrong.
That's where they all go wrong. I must agree
Okay?
on this one. I
You
have to
can't do that.
agree.
You could tell a little bit, but I've learned that if I disparage him, I'm bringing bad energy into my relationship. So if I'm going to disparage him and talk crap about him behind his back, I mean, he does get on my nerves. I'll tell you that right straight. He does. But I'm not going to sit down with women and say, okay, he does A, B, and C. I don't do that.
That's good.
I work it out with him. If he's annoying me, I'm saying, listen, listen, this is what's happening. But that's where women make their mistake. They tell all their business, and then they're either upset when their man goes to that woman because you've been telling all your business to her and she knows all the nuances of your relationship and she wants what you have. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that from my mom. Don't do that.
Yes. And that's a good point, because we do have a tendency to try to get somebody's opinion on what we're going through. Even sometimes, a female goes to a gentleman and tries to get his opinion. More than likely, he's going to direct it into his way. So
Yes.
we do see a lot of that happening with individuals. But the main thing comes down to, like you said earlier, knowing yourself and being knowing who you are and being happy with that.
Right. And if you want advice, never go to someone who doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. If you need advice from my thing is, I'm going to go to someone who's in a relationship, has longevity, has a good track record, is seasoned, and understands what a relationship is. Because why am I going to go to someone who has no idea what I'm talking about and is going to give me some dumb advice? So if you're going to go to someone, if you need to talk to someone, go to a seasoned woman who is in a successful, if you want to be something, look at it and say, okay, I want to be that. So you have to learn from that. You don't learn from these ridiculous fly by night things. You go to a woman who's held down a relationship, has children, has maintained a household, regardless of whether it's a working relationship, working outside of the home and inside of the home. They know what they're talking about. They've got experience. They may not know exactly what you're going through, but they know a little bit, and they can help you. So if you're gonna go to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Exactly. I totally agree. And so how does he see this relationship? If I know he's not here to give that opinion, he was actually supposed to be on with us, but most men do what they do and they shy out, which is okay. We have the women that know how to speak up on their behalf. How does he feel about this whole relationship and the connection that the two of you have? Has he mentioned it to you in any type of way?
Well, in the beginning, he would never ever talk about his feelings. He would never talk about anything. But now he's to the point where he's comfortable talking about it. And he said to me last night, babe, we are so in sync, which is big for him. It may be like 5 words to you guys, but to me, that's a big thing for him, because that's not who he is as a person. He's happy. He tells me what he's doing. He, lets me in on what he's doing, where he's going. That's a testimony to that he's here,
Right.
and if I call him and it's funny, if I call him and he doesn't pick up the phone, I'm like, well, what were you doing? And he'll say, well, I was A, B, and C. And now he'll say to me, which he would have never said in the beginning of the relationship, well, what were you doing when I called you, you didn't pick up the phone? But we've elevated ourselves so we can ask those questions and be comfortable with it and okay with it.
Right. Okay, great.
So he's obviously, well, the answer to that question is he's I guess he's happy. He's very supportive of me. He takes care of me. He covers me.
Okay.
And that's what you want. You want to be covered. If you're going to be in a relationship, you want to make sure you have that cover as a woman. We cover them too, and I hate to go back to this old fashioned thing, because I am a very woman who works. I have my own house. I have my own job. I work for myself, but I am a woman who believes that if you have a man that's going to cover you, if when you're falling and he's there to carry you and pick you up, that's what I'm talking about. I don't need somebody if things are going bad. He's like, well, what you going to do? If you can't help me, I could do bad by myself. I don't need you to help me do bad. Okay?
Yes. I like that. That's true too. That is so on target. And how does he connect with your children and you connecting to their children? You're his children.
Well, he has 2 children, one who passed away in his early 20s. So he has 3. And I have 2. My children are grown. My son refers to him as dad. My daughter, who's not as with, in the forefront of that, she said, oh, my stepdad, which was, I heard her talking to her friend the other day. And she's like, oh, my mom and my stepdad. And I'm like, okay, that's a step in the right direction. But again, my children they're grown. He has a daughter who has Asperger's, which is a derivative of autism. And that's been a challenge. But the blessing is I was raised with a disabled uncle. So this was nothing. I was like, oh, she could still be the president of the United States because I know what I grew up with. So this is nothing. But it's a challenge for him. And it's a challenge for me. But, that's his child. I only step in when he asks me. I've learned that, too. I can't be Mother Earth to everybody, So when he needs me, and he has one son who's in college right now, and he's doing phenomenal. So the kids are good. They love me. I love them. My kids love him. We never lived together, but that's okay.
Right. Lovely.
Okay. Yeah.
I really do appreciate this time that we were able to discuss this. And I do want to close off right now. And I so appreciate having you on this evening. I really do appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today on this thing. And remember, everybody, much love, be safe, peace out.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Twin Flame 1111. And I would like to hear from you on how your journey is shaping out. So please, if you can, leave a comment below and let me know where you're tuning in from. That's always great to know. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share with others. Also, if you haven't subscribed and would like to hear more on the love of us all and our journey, hit the subscribe button below and the bell. Much love always.